Hey everyone, so in today's video I'm going to talk about something that we haven't talked before, something we believe but isn't simply the truth, not only in fashion industry but in general. So in today's video I'm going to talk about why I'm not a sustainability YouTuber or an influencer, and also why I believe that ethical fashion or just sustainability in fashion is something we just simply can't achieve. So if you don't know me, hello, hi, you should be new. My name is Nirpal and this is my channel, and if you are interested in similar content as this, please subscribe and comment down below what you guys want from me in the future. And also, if you are asking me, I am a textile professional, so I have worked in the industry for some time now, and if you are asking me what right or what makes me qualified enough to do this video, then that is. So actually which is understandable because I want to know about something before doing a video about it. So yeah, I'm a professional. So in this video I'm going to divide it into several sections, and also I will link down below the timestamps of this video just in case you want to skip anything, because this video I'm pretty sure it will be much lengthy. So first I'm going to define what is fast fashion and why we believe it's not really good, and then I'm going to talk about the sustainability of fashion and why it is an alternative for fast fashion, and that's why we believe it's the only option that we have. And then the most exciting part of this video, I'm going to talk about why I don't believe in sustainability in fashion, or why sustainability in fashion is something we can't achieve and why it has so many defects. Okay, so finally the conclusion. So without further ado, let's get into it. Throughout this video I will be explaining and discussing things that I have experienced while I was working in the industry and while I was studying there. So if you have worked in the industry and or whatever, if you have different experiences than mine, I totally respect your opinion. And I personally think that this is a topic and area that we should be constantly learning and expressing and sharing our thoughts of, and we need to share our thoughts and experiences, our own experiences, to expand our knowledge on this. So please let me know down below, and we need to continue this discussion. So share your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Yeah, I totally respect your opinion. So what is fast fashion? If you are kind of familiar with the fashion cycle, you know about buying and selling of fashion items, which includes like production and manufacturing and selling and buying and consumption and then disposal. In a typical fast fashion brand, it takes like about from 3 months, which is about 12 weeks, up to maybe like 20 or 25 weeks if I'm right. So which is like very short, because the consumer might actually wear it like 10 times at most, I believe, which is a wasted, because we spend so much effort and raw materials and energy upon it, and that will be like on the dump yard like after 3 months, which is like a wastage. But the only issue with fast fashion is not just wastage, because they are like updating regularly, they are like cheaper. All right, so in many cases there are like underpaid workers and workers that are working in like unsafe or unethical conditions, and also like unethical extraction of raw materials, which is like huge, and there's just a whole list. All right, so I will link down below some of the articles on the internet explaining about fast fashion. So if you want to read them, just go and read them. So I don't want to explain about this in this video because I don't want to make this too much lengthy. Moving on to the second section of this video, shopping sustainable. Now, a sustainable brand focus on extending that fashion cycle, so their fashion items are not super fashionable and trendy like in a fast fashion brand, and also they aren't like fashionably valid for a longer period of time, so they invest a lot of capital and money on one product, which makes it a little bit like, not a little bit, like pricey AF, which normal people like me can't afford. But the good thing is that they obtain a lot of profit from each item, so they can focus on paying workers well and giving them better conditions and safe conditions to work on, and also they can extract the raw materials in ethical and in environmental friendly ways. So it seems like these sustainable fashion brands are our savior, but are they really? Are they? Like, we want to move on to the third part of this video for that. So then moving on to the third part of this video, the issue with sustainable brands, at least many of them, and how they approach things. So the main issues, I mean, there are so many issues in fast fashion brands, but the main issues, at least the ones that I see, are underpaid and workers working on unsafe conditions, and the second one is unethical extraction. No, not unethical extraction, like raw materials in general, like they use a lot of synthetic fibers like polyester, nylon, which we think that affect the environment. So something we do not realize, or at least we don't know, is that in most garment factories means the factories that are producing pieces that we wear, so the workers do not get paid by the number of pieces they produce, but they get paid by like a monthly wage, at least an hourly wage. Now this situation can be different in many factories, but 90% of the times they get like a monthly wage. Now let me paint you a picture right here. So imagine a fashion brand, like fast fashion or sustainable, doesn't matter, let's say just H&M. Okay, I don't know though, like I've never worked with H&M. I said imagine, didn't I? Yeah. So H&M, let's just imagine it's H&M. So H&M, there is just H&M right here, and there is like a factory right here. It could be a factory or a group of factories functioning. They may not know each other, like the factory may not know about H&M or whatever. So what happens, this is how the backend functions, alright? So a representative from H&M approaches this garment factory or whatever. So a representative approaches this company and asks them to sign a contract. Like the contract usually says like H&M pays this much, the factory gives 500, like something, like the factory gives 500 garments to H&M and H&M pays this much to the factory. So the factory can accept or reject that offer. No matter if the factory accept or reject that offer, it doesn't affect on how much the workers get paid, because at the beginning of their like working, a worker signs a contract with the factory, not with H&M, that the factory pays this much at the end of each month. But we're talking about like large factories, like they have people, departments that just for cost analysis, all right? So no matter if they accept the H&M offer or not, they can just function like properly, and maybe they'll just receive another order from somewhere else, like I don't know, Sarah or somewhere else. So whichever the company it is, like whichever the fashion brand it is, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day they might get another offer from another fashion brand, or I don't know, the workers get paid, that their pay is guaranteed, alright, because they also from an agreement with the factory. So if the factory failed to pay them, or for whatever reason, they can just quit their job and do something legal about it. Like, I have seen it happening, alright. So let me just tell you a story. So a while ago, like about 3 years ago, I worked in a factory in a quality department as a quality technician. So they mainly received orders from fast fashion brands. I'm not gonna name any because I don't want any legal battle. So they worked pretty well. Like, they got a lot of profit, they paid their workers well, they had better conditions. Like, even people were like interested in working there. Like, even normal people were interested in working in that factory. So that was like, they were like thriving. So for I don't know why, but at some point they just quit their agreements, all their agreements with those fast fashion brands, and started working for just one sustainable brand. At least they market themselves like sustainable, but I don't know, like, I don't know that, which is also an issue which I want to talk about later, because there is no parameter to measure sustainability. So that's a practical issue. So this factory, their main source of income was now from this sustainable brand. So, but their budget, they were like, so at that time they were like preparing for winter, I assume. It was like beginning of fall, actually. In the beginning of fall and at the end of summer, a lot of orders come in. So people are like buying clothes for winter, people want clothes for winter, so a lot of orders come in at the beginning of fall, essentially. So by the time we produce those garments and ship them to those countries, it will be like basically winter. Not the point anyway. So they were like, they produce like mostly staple wear, leggings, overalls, pullovers, sweaters, like knitwear in general. So, but their budget was like extremely low, So it is like general practice in Sri Lanka. I live in Sri Lanka, so it's like general practice here to give food to the workers while working during working hours. So they didn't even have a budget to provide food for the workers. Like, they like reduced the content in the meal because they were like on strict budgets, which is like not fair at all. Like, they did have a very limited budget, but although they advertise themselves as sustainable, which is like weird. So anyway, they focused on quantity a lot, like quality and quantity both, but specifically quantity. They gave like 4 minutes to complete a fashionable legging, because they have like some detail on the booty area. So they gave like 4 minutes to complete a fashionable legging, which usually take about like 7 minutes. So which was not enough actually. And the packaging workers, like, I remember this vividly, like packaging workers were work like hell. Like, they were like standing there like 10 hours a day, and they didn't even have time to breathe. They were like packing, putting it right, like taking, packing, putting it right. Like, that was one reason I quit my job there, because I just can't watch it and do my work. And yeah, I just can't see. I was not capable enough just to see it. So I just quit my job there. Actually, what happened was a lot of workers quit their job there because they can't endure it, you know. So some of them formed like legal battles with the company. And yeah, that was what I was saying, like, there is always a legal thing going on. so the workers can do something about it. Well, unless if they are working for the company directly. Also, there is something that I want to put out there. People who are working for fast fashion industry, they are supposed to obtain a better payment, a higher payment than others. I know in many cases, in many situations, that just doesn't happen, but it should, because they don't produce many garments. Although there are so many styles, they don't produce many garments. They produce like 200, 300 garments from each style. So after producing like 200 garments from one style, a worker needs to switch to another style, and we need to pay for them for that, because like, I get that they don't focus much on quality, but if a worker makes 200 garments from a lock stitch machine and the style switches, and he or she or whoever, they need to move on to another style, which is like, let's say, just they need to move on to a flat lock machine. So that person needs to learn about both machines. They need to know about how to operate both machines, which is an additional skill. So usually fast fashion, the workers working for fast fashion brands are usually more skilled than other ones like staple or even sustainable brands, so that is like a huge plus. Like, if you are a worker, if you quit your job there, you can move on to another place like really fast, because they are so much skilled. So another thing I want to focus is the environmental damage. A lot of brands claim to be like vegan, or they advertise like, we are vegan and cruelty free, and being vegan and cruelty free brand is great, like, not because of just ethical practices, but because of the environmental damage that it can cause, like producing of greenhouse gases and all the other effects on the environment. And so we want the brands to be vegan, but just because it is vegan, it doesn't mean it is sustainable. Something a lot of brands do is like, they advertise they are vegan and cruelty free. We use vegan stuff, we use natural raw materials, and avoid synthetics and man-made. But here's the thing though, so this phrase is from one of my textbooks, which doesn't lie. This is like true. I'm just gonna say it like, quote, there is much misinformation in the media that natural fibers and fabrics are the best, leading many people to think that natural fibers are good for the environment and synthetics are automatically bad. Most of this thinking is based on negative perceptions of the chemical industry. Although natural fibers biodegrade more easily, some give off toxic gases as they do so. Some processes for making synthetic fibers are actually more friendly to the environment than those for making natural fibers, especially when energy or water usage are taken into consideration. That is something I want to focus on, like about natural fibers producing toxic gases. I am not sure which, but it is possible. Like, most people think because they are organic, they can't produce any toxic things to the environment. But the thing is, even organic compounds do have like a chemical structure which can produce gases like methane in certain conditions. Also, I think the most destructive part comes from washing and finishing and dyeing of natural fibers. Even if you wear like white garments, they are usually bleached, alright? So also there is this process called scouring. So for these processes, we need a lot of chemicals and water which should be purified before sending back to the environment. I know in many countries they purify water by using standards, but as a professional, let me tell you something. form standards to limit a certain environmental impact, not to avoid it. But the thing is that even though we do something within standards, it can produce some impact on the environment. Actually, that is why even purified water from these factories can be used for drinking. So these issues just don't stop even if they are like sustainable brands that use like natural raw materials. Like sustainability is simply something we can't achieve, alright? And you might be asking me now, like, what's my alternative? What we should do now? Like, but there isn't an alternative. Yeah, actually, sustainable brands do produce much less environmental and ethical impact, but it doesn't mean that there is no impact. And also that sustainability is a super luxurious thing. Like, you might hear all the people like influencers saying, no offense, because I follow the same path, girl. I do follow the same path of sustainability, but they also always say like, please shop sustainable and please don't buy many stuff. Like, but the reality is some people do not. Like, bro, I live in Sri Lanka, like, and the other day I bought a dress from a sustainable brand, and my mom's first reaction was like, it's like 25% of your salary. Why did you do that? Like, that's true, man. I mean, that is so true. So some people can't afford that. Some people just don't. I mean, this might be a personal fact, but it is valid for about 50% of the population, which we must consider. Like, about 50% of the population are like average people which can't afford sustainable brands. And when, like, I can do a video about it if you want. Like, a lot of people bully online just because people are buying from fast fashion brands, but sometimes it's the only thing that they can afford. Like, you don't know about people, right? And also, you might say now, yeah, you can just thrift, but sometimes people love to buy a new thing, you know, and maybe the only thing that they can afford is from a fast fashion brand. Like I said earlier, I said that, didn't I? So I personally want to keep my balance between fast fashion and sustainability. So there are some ways that fast fashion brands can be sustainable to some extent. Yeah, like, here's the conclusion. Like, I do shop from fast fashion brands, like, because I can't afford the luxuriousness, not luxuriousness, I can't afford sustainability. So, but most of the time I shop locally, which is a good point, because for transport we spend so much fuel. So buying local is the next best thing, and I buy locally a lot. And also, whenever I buy from a fast fashion brand, I actually wear that about 50 times. Yeah. So yeah, let's continue this discussion. I believe we should continue this discussion because this is an area, like I said that before, didn't I? I said that. So this is an area that we need to constantly develop our knowledge of, and yeah, share your thoughts and opinions in the description, the comment section below. But it's escaping me today. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you have made it to the end, let me know down below what are your thoughts. Yeah, we should continue this discussion. Thank you all.